Today we're taking a look at the Holga 120 TLR. Hey everyone, Sean here, and today we're taking a look at the Holga 120 TLR. Now this is very similar to the standard Holga 120 camera, you know, those big black plastic cameras that have almost become synonymous with lo-fi film photography. And yeah, it's very similar, got a lot of the same features, but unlike the standard Holga camera, this is a Holga TLR. TLR stands for twin lens reflex, and as you can see, it has two lenses. This is the lens that takes the photo, you can focus it. This lens up here does not take a picture, but what it does do is you open this top part here, and then you actually look down into the camera to compose your shot. Now, if you don't like using the waist level viewfinder, you can actually push this in and kind of lock it into place there. And then you've got this hole you can look through and you can compose through it. Now, this isn't a true twin lens reflex because the reflex part refers to the two lenses being connected. So you'd focus this lens and then this lens would be focused. That was for the fancier cameras. The twin lens on this camera is merely for composing. You still have to set the focus like you would normally on a Holga camera. You've got mountain, large group of people, medium group of people, and one person. Then on the bottom here, you've got normal shutter speed or bulb for long exposures. If you set it to bulb, you can hold down the shutter and keep the shutter open as long as you want. Great for long exposure photography. And like the other Holgas, you've got a choice of shooting 12 exposures or 16. If you're gonna shoot 16, you have to use the 16 mask. I've got the 12 mask in right now. Now this specific Holga has another nice feature. In the back here, we'll open up the back. You can take out the mask and there's a spot for two AA batteries. And these batteries power the built-in flash. So if you're shooting at like a party and you just want basic flash photography with your Holga, it will power that. Not only does it have a flash, but it has a colored flash. As you see right here on the top, there is a little dial. Currently it says W for white, but you can set it to B for blue, Y for yellow, and R for red. So you can actually color your flashes and just kind of flood your color photography with a single color. Let's take a look at a roll of black and white film I shot with this camera. These photos were all shot on a roll of Kodak T-Max 100 black and white film, and you can actually see that in this first image because I made the classic error of leaving the film window on the back of the camera exposed to sunlight for a prolonged period of time, and that burned the backing paper into the film. You can see really clearly in this shot that this camera does vignette on the edges for sure. Now this Holga does have a glass lens, but it's still fairly lo-fi, fairly soft. It's definitely got that unique Holga 120 look. Here's an example of focusing close up with the Holga, and we get a nice out of focus background with some nice detail in the front. This camera does have a light leak. We're getting a big light leak on the right side of each frame. And this is probably because when I used the camera, I did not tape up the back. Holgas are notoriously not built light tight, especially on the back. So if you don't want any light leak, definitely tape up the back of your camera. This shot turned out pretty good. There's less light leak and I got good detail in the sky, the foliage, and the water. This is probably the best shot I got on this roll. Here's an example of why you don't want to use a Holga in darker conditions. I was in the forest and it was pretty dark, so we are getting some detail on the sunlit background, but everything else is just kind of going into silhouette. Here's a shot I really like of a roller coaster over some trees. I was walking along a sidewalk that borders a theme park, and I like the surreal quality of this. It's just nature, but then you have this towering roller coaster just sticking out of nowhere. And finally, here's a photo of some sunflowers. It is backlit, and as you can see, the sunlight is creating this huge flare in the middle of the frame. It is definitely kind of a lo-fi, old-fashioned, evocative shot. And here are a couple more images I shot with this camera and a roll of color film. So you can see how this lens renders color, not the highest quality. It does give it kind of a faded look, although if you're going for that vintage filmic look, it actually looks kind of nice. It's definitely that classic medium format look, obviously with a cheaper lens and camera, but it is fairly pleasing. The camera is also blue. You can get it in black, but I just like the blue. And that's one of the fun things about shooting with Holga cameras. It's almost like you are using a toy. You are getting a fairly lo-fi image. If you know what you're doing, you can create a pretty good image. But even when I'm using a Holga in the most serious of circumstances, when I'm trying to create art with a capital A, I still like having a colorful Holga like this one because it just adds a sense of play to my photography. Okay, that was a quick look at the Holga 120 TLR. Click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one, and stay tuned for more videos.